Hello, everyone. It's Christmas Eve 2024. Time for our Christmas special episode. This is Tony and Christine here from the Refinement Not Retirement podcast to talk about the final part of our 5 week Florida trip. And that involves sharing with you what the last few days was like for us visiting Disney World as two aged travelers, but not only two aged travelers, but
That's nice,
two
isn't it?
vegans.
Oh God.
So here's Christine.
Aged travellers, that's a bit worrying. You old aged vegan travellers. Oh
Well, it's
dear.
true. It's true.
Oh God, don't say it though. I don't like it.
Anyway, Chris, it's nice to see you in front of our Christmas tree, just
Yes, happy
proving
Christmas,
that it is
everybody.
Christmas, and a happy Christmas to you, our dear listeners, to Christine, my dear wife. And it's this is we wanted to get this episode out at Christmas because although it's a few weeks ago since we returned from Florida, the time that we spent in Disney World was particularly special because it was Thanksgiving over there. And so Disney World, and we've never experienced this before, but Disney World was decked out for Christmas, Christmas trees everywhere, beautiful Christmas displays, beautiful not Disney, beautiful Christmas music playing, which just made it all so Christmassy. And of course, we're no strangers to Disney World. Why don't you set that up, Chris, for us?
Well, I think because just to back off a little bit, we flew into Orlando because I wanted just a one-stop shop flight, if you like. I get a bit fed up of changing flights, so we thought, well, what we'll do is we'd book this trip obviously to Naples. We flew into Orlando. We stayed the night actually at Orlando Airport at a very nice hotel, which is actually inside Orlando Airport. I think it was a Hyatt. And then the next morning, so once we were on US time, jumped into our rental car, which we picked up at the airport there, which was perfect, and headed off to Naples so that on our return journey, and this was obviously all pre-organized and purchased, tickets, etc., and hotel, we then drove back at the end of our lease, our month lease, and had our last I think 3 nights, 4 days, yes,
But why do we
in Disney
just
World.
tell our listeners very quickly why, because we need to get on with the full thing, but why we wanted to go back to Disney World?
Why did we want to go back? I don't know.
Well, it was a trip down memory lane.
Oh yes,
We've
yes, yes.
taken our four daughters there when they were little, and even our grandsons and so on when our daughters got bigger and started having children of their own. So we've been there many, many times. We're no strangers to Disney World, but we've never been back at Christmas time, and we've never been there as vegans, have we, before?
No, no, exactly. So it was, yes, it was a trip down memory lane. We decided to stay at the Walt Disney World Dolphin and Swan Hotel, which is actually on property, gets access to all the parks. And so that was a bit of memorabilia. Got very emotional, I think. Well, I did when we arrived because it just my whole body flooded with memories of the girls when they were little, and just there's something so mad. I mean, literally, that word magical is very true about Disney because the emotions just come flooding in when you hear the music and you see everything. It was gorgeous. And as you said, I think seeing the Christmas trees, we had a 4 day hopper park, which meant we could go in and out of the parks for 4 days, as many times as we wanted, which was perfect, really. And each park had its own Christmas tree theme, which was gorgeous. Animal Kingdom, Magic Kingdom, Epcot, and Hollywood Studios, and it really was very magical, wasn't it? It was
It
very,
was.
very,
We
very,
packed,
very
we
special.
packed into our 4 days. We packed a lot in. We left Naples at like 5 in the morning
Yes,
on the 26th of um, November.
November.
November,
Yes,
yeah.
November. Yes,
So after we'd been a month in Naples, and we wanted to get there early because the first day of our park hopper ticket
started, didn't it,
had
that
started.
day?
So we wanted to get there, and we did indeed get there at about 9:30 in the morning. But look, the dolphin. What we want to do with this episode, more than just sort of sharing our experience with you, is also perhaps to give tips to people. We have a lot of people who listen to this podcast who are also vegan, and so we'd like to share some tips that might be helpful to other vegans visiting
Yes, yes. So
visiting
yeah, so
Disney
I
World,
can.
but
Yeah,
also,
sorry, I
not
can tell you
only,
about
but
that.
yeah, I know. So you're going to be very well placed to talk about that, but not only for vegans visiting Disney World. I think some of the things that we have to say will also be of help to anybody who's perhaps visiting Disney World for the first time. Now, on that subject, the Dolphin Hotel, which you chose and which we've stayed at before, actually because we've had we were introduced to it, I think, because we had business conferences there. And one thing to say about it, correct me if I'm wrong, Chris, but it's although it's a very high quality hotel in a great location, which we'll tell you more about in a moment, but it's also a bit cheaper, isn't it? Is that
Well,
right?
much, much, much cheaper because it's. I think it's owned by Sheraton, um, and so it's a. Although it's on the property, on the property, and it gets all the same access. It is. Well, I would say it's a third cheaper. I can't even begin to tell you. I mean, the price of the Disney hotels is outrageous. Well, the price of everything in Disney World now is so expensive, and quite frankly, I really do not know how families, large families, a lot of American families, especially there at Thanksgiving, 4 or 5 children in tow. I don't know how they afford it. I honestly don't because
So I
it's
think
just
this is a really
it's a
good tip
lot
for
of money.
anybody who wants to stay in a really good hotel, because it is a really good hotel, but doesn't want to pay the premium prices that Disney charge for their own properties. This is a really good tip. And another reason it's a really good tip, it is a fabulous location
Yeah.
for actually you can walk to several of the parks. I mean, you can
Well,
we
Epcot and Hollywood
yeah,
Studios,
so two
isn't
of the
it?
parks.
Two.
You can
Yes.
walk to two of them, and by walking to Epcot, you get access to the others, or some of the
To the
others
tram and
anyway,
the
because you
gondola now. Yeah.
yeah, so we hadn't experienced this before, but they now have as Christine calls a gondola. It's like a ski lift. It's called Skyliner, Disney's Skyliner, and that's all part of your ticket. It's full free, um, as are the buses, the boats, and the monorail, all free, and they're all really interconnected. And so it's very
Yes.
easy to get around from this location, which is located at what's called the Boardwalk at Disney, which is a great place because you can in the evening when you've finished your day, you can wander out and onto the boardwalk, and there's all kinds of places to visit, restaurants to eat at, really fabulous restaurants to eat
Yeah.
at.
Big lake, and in fact, it's not in the park, so that makes a big difference in terms of cost.
Yeah, so I think
But I
that's
would.
our first big tip, isn't it? The Dolphin Hotel. There are two, as you say, the Dolphin and the
The
Swan.
Swan's a bit
They
more
are
sort of
separate, but
adult inclined. Yes.
I think the Dolphin, we've experienced both. We've stayed at both, but I think the Dolphin is the superior one, and it's even better than when we have stayed there before. They've really upgraded the lobby. They've
Yeah,
got a
they
lovely
have
bar in
beautiful
there.
bar.
They've got fantastic coffee shop in the lobby, a really big one. Uh, so we would thoroughly recommend it. And as vegans, what we were blown away by, Christina, she always does, reached out to the Dolphin Hotel and say, "Hey, we're vegans. What can you do for us?" We got back from the Rosa restaurant, which is a Mexican restaurant within the hotel, the place where you eat breakfast. She got the most helpful, really, really not only helpful but kind and thoughtful response. Essentially saying they were going to get stuff in. Yet they do cater for vegans, no problem. But they were the start. They asked us what we liked, and they actually got it in. Isn't that right, Chris?
Yes, they did. They got amazing breakfast in for us, and in fact, we had what I did was I booked all that. I went on the Disney Pass app that you can get and you download, and then I went through all the restaurants in Disney looking for what vegan food was offered, plant-based, should I say, as they say, plant-based foods, and made a decision to book a restaurant every night, and particularly look for breakfast. I will just say though, Tony, on just going back quickly on the dolphin, I think because we were only on a short stay, for UK families, there are a lot of Disney deals that are done, package holidays for 2 weeks, because it's a long way to fly with the children, and they do phenomenal packages, Disney packages where they fly in the hotel, the food for children, and the park tickets for the whole 2 weeks. So we were sort of doing it a little bit more sort of a la carte, if you like. But
True. Yeah, that's a
yes, the
good point.
woman who was actually also called Christine at the Dolphin arranged to get in particularly nice wholemeal bread and sausages, and they had just egg, which is a type which you can't get in the UK,
Yet.
which comes up scrambled. Yes, I hope it comes soon. Scrambled or omelets with mushrooms and tomatoes and onions in it, and I mean, it was fabulous. The chef came out and met with us. Chef Chris met with us, and he prepared our meals for us
Yeah, we
every
had our
morning
breakfasts
breakfast.
freshly cooked by the head chef
Yes,
every morning.
yes.
That was really great.
It was phenomenal. I mean, it really was. And then I booked restaurants so that we could, so that well, one funny little tip, and it's quite strange, is that when you book your restaurants, I can tell you now, it asks you about allergies. Now, as you know, being a vegan is not an allergy; it's a lifestyle,
It's
it's
a
a
personal
choice.
choice. Yeah.
But so instead of having a tick box that you are plant based, you are a vegan, you have to tick every box that says no eggs, no milk, no dairy, and then other. So every restaurant we, we went to, which was what worked out very well, would say, "Oh, I see. They're very well prepared. They're very professional. Well, we see you have allergies." And I said, "No, we don't have allergies, but there isn't a box to tick that says we're plant based and we only want plant based food." So they still prepared and did the food um, every night. But we made one big mistake, didn't we?
Yeah. So
Can I tell
I
you
was going
about
to,
that
well,
one
I'm going to
mistake, or
let
do you
you,
want to say about it?
I'm going to say that's quite right. We did have one poor experience, probably because we made a poor choice. But before we get there, so with the first place that we visited was Magic Kingdom, and went to the things that we've liked in the past. I mean, we were two sort of fairly elderly adults going around Disney with no children, so we weren't sort of going to ride on everything, but we just really wanted to have our memories revived. But we went on Pirates of the Caribbean, which we both love. We talked about going on Splash Mountain, which was another ride, a log flume ride, really good one. Used to be themed on Brer Rabbit, but it's been refreshed, and as a result of being refreshed, round a movie called Bayou, is it, Chris?
No,
Prince.
it's about a black princess. Can't remember her name now.
Well, Bayou is
Um,
in the name, isn't it? Bayou, I think, but it
yes,
doesn't matter.
but she
It's been refreshed, but it's as a result of being refreshed, it's just completely booked out. Booked out all the time. You have to book for it by, is it virtual queuing or something of that
virtual
nature?
queuing. There's twice a day, once at 7 a.m. and once at 2 p.m. in the afternoon, and you have to actually be in the park when you book this virtual viewing,
Which they
and
know
it can
because you're
see what
doing it
they
all via the app, right?
yeah, so they can see if you're in there or not. And we
Mm.
went on to do it with oh no, it was 1 o'clock. Beg your pardon, because if you remember, we were in the president's hall, and there wasn't any Wi-Fi in there at 1 o'clock, and I went to click on and it wouldn't do it. So I tried it another day when we were actually in the park, and it there's no way we could get tickets for it.
No,
And in
so
fact, when
so
I
to cut a long story short, we
yeah,
weren't able to ride on that, which we would have liked to have done. but it is worth, I think, mentioning that, as we've sort of alluded to, that everything now is done via an app. So it's really very important to have a phone and have Wi-Fi access. Although Wi-Fi access seems to be ubiquitous around the parks, doesn't it? So that really shouldn't be a problem. Don't worry about not having a connection. Um, but also be aware that you have, so two things, you need the app really, and you also have to have these little plastic credit card tickets, which everything is done by now. And be also aware that you can't, like you used to be able to do, sort of hand your ticket to somebody else when you're not going to the park so that they can do it, because they also use fingerprints. So when you go in your first time into any of the parks, you will present the card to a machine. It's all automated. You'll put your finger, like you do in biometric machines for passport, for immigration control in some countries. That will read and record your fingerprint, and then every time you go in, you'll need to present the card and your finger, obviously, which prevents people from obviously
Yeah, you can
transferring
do it
their
on your
ticket.
watch as well. Some people had it on their watch,
Yes.
but I didn't do that.
Yes, but you'll still need to do the fingerprint test. Now,
Yeah,
coming
oh
to what
yes.
we were going to talk about, our era, after the Magic Kingdom walk around that we did, we went back, checked into our hotel because the rooms by then were ready, and then we headed back on foot to Epcot from the hotel, which is only like 10, 15 minutes walk away, brisk walk from the hotel. Lovely walk as you go along the waterway. Uh, and we first of all had lightning passes. Now, before we move on to the next stage, just explain what a lightning pass is, Chris.
Well, again, a lightning pass is a pre-book pass which you can book up to three in any park on the day, and they vary in price. I think some parks are there $28 for three lightning passes, and you allocate a time between each one. So if you've got one between 1 and 2, and then another one between 2:30 and 3:30, and so on, there's an hour's window. But everything is extra. So you paid already thousands of dollars for your 4-day hopper pass, but then if you want to get an advantage to go up the lightning pass, up the line, and not stand in line for sometimes up to 4 hours, which we didn't do. We didn't need to do that
Well, we
because
bought we
we were
bought a lot. We bought quite a few lightning passes, didn't
we
we?
did, and you
Because
can
we
buy
just didn't want
single
to.
ones as
Yeah,
well,
we just
but on
didn't want to
certain rides.
hang around. The lightning pass gets you into the lightning lane, which you have to enter at the time that's allotted to you, the time window that's allotted to
Correct.
you, and then
Yeah.
it's a short line. Everyone else
Oh yes, yes.
in the what
It's
they
very
call
good.
this everyone else in what they call the standby line is going to be standing in a line for sometimes a very,
Well, it
very
tells
long
you
time.
120 minutes, 240 minutes, or whatever. But as you said, because we were older and we've done that, we weren't with children. We had specific rides or experiences we wanted to do, and so we picked and chose what we did, which
So
was very pleasant, wasn't it? Very relaxed,
very, very
really.
relaxed. So just I want to move this on quite fast because we haven't got long left really to talk about things that we want to talk about. But the Lightning Pass got us onto the first ride that we used it on was called the Guardians of the Galaxy, which is in Epcot, which is absolutely mind-blowing, brilliant ride.
Yeah,
It's
it
very
was.
exciting, but also not only very exciting, but not rough. It doesn't jerk you around. It's very smooth. You loved it. I loved it. And that's all we're going to say on that. So if you get a chance, go on the Guardians of the Galaxy. Definitely get the Lightning Pass, and that's all I'm going to say on that.
Yeah, better
Now
than
we
Space
come
Mountain.
we come to the error that we made. So what I think that the takeaway from a vegan standpoint of everything that we're going to say is we found that it's not a good idea to, if you're vegan anyway, and probably even if you're not vegan, frankly, it's not a good idea to eat in the parks if you want good value for money. We booked, of course, Epcot has the World Showcase, which is a circular sort of walk around a huge body of water, which where there are representations of various countries around the world, main countries around the world. We chose to eat in the country in this section that represented Norway at a restaurant called Our House, Hrhauss, like our house, I suppose. Stroke Princess's Royal Dinner. Well, it was
Never
completely the
even dawned
wrong.
on me.
I mean, it was
Never even dawned
what
on me, really.
most of the food in the park is sort of fast food and pretty low, pretty low fat quality food, just fast food, hot dogs and burgers and chicken wings and stuff like that, which we wouldn't eat anyway. This was different. It was a sit down meal. What we didn't realize is that it was one, a sort of themed princesses dinner, which we should have really realized. And they had all the princesses from the various movies there, and they were obviously going around the tables and making the kids experience the best that
All the
it could
little
possibly
girls all
be.
dressed up, having their pictures taken with them.
So
And we
we were
went, they said, "Do you want your picture taken?" We went, "No, thank you. They don't need to visit our table.
we
Thank
just
you."
wanted a nice meal, in a nice restaurant, and it really, because it was all sort of very kiddie orientated. It really wasn't that. It was also what the Americans call family style, which means that they bring everything at once. And in terms of the vegan, that they said they did plant-based options, but in fact, all they do is take out all the tasty stuff. So you
Well,
end up
I
with,
think the only thing we got sausages, mashed
yeah, well, there were
potatoes.
vegan sausages. They were beyond meat
Yeah,
sausages,
they
weren't
were
they?
nice, but there was it brat. What was it? Was it no? Was
They,
it
they called it
wasn't
bratwurst, but it's just a
cabbage.
beyond sausage.
Yeah, it was, and I can't remember what I had.
Yeah,
And
so there was
oh, I
things like
don't know, some
there was
ice cream and
mashed potato, greens. There was some sort of little dessert, but I mean, it was $240.
oh, it was outrageous.
And it was just, really just
Well, we
like,
felt very cheated, didn't we? I mean, I felt
yeah.
really very unhappy about it. I think I'd seen it and I thought, well, that's got, as soon as I saw Beyond Sausages and mash and cabbage, I thought, oh, well, that's, a nice hearty meal and I know it and, that'll be all right. Don't have to think too hard
Yeah,
about
so
it.
so I just want to move
Um,
on quite briskly here. So
well, you are moving quickly. I
well,
thought we
I
had
do
loads
because
of
we haven't.
time.
No, we haven't. And half an hour goes very, very quickly. So I think that's a very important takeaway: is avoid eating in the parks. We found, as we'll tell you about, we had a couple of really good dinners, not in the parks, which were great. So the next really great experience that we must tell you about is as we came out the restaurant, the fireworks started. It's a show at the moment called Luminous. They always have great fireworks displays within Epcot over they are centered on the water. You can always get a good view from anywhere, really, even if the park is crowded. We had a fantastic evening, then walked back to our hotel. And that was the end of that day. Next morning, we had another brilliant breakfast at Rosa's, and we took the boat then to Hollywood Studios, um, and we met a Disney employee who took our photograph for us and gave us, her name was Kat. She was wonderful, and she gave us lots of really good tips about the park, what to go on, what to avoid going on. And that day also, you had your horrid experience, Chris, riding on the rock and roller coaster,
Oh, it was
which is the
appalling.
up the
Wasn't
car
how
that
I
goes
remembered it. Yeah.
upside down, and I found it very jerky as well. But what I really want to get to is what I thought was the greatest experience was when we went to go on the uh, use our lightning power pass for the Tower of Terror, which is themed on the Twilight Zone. It's an old 1920s, I think 1920s or 1930s hotel that's themed like, and it involves you riding in an elevator which drops you several times at high speed. Um, but it's so well themed. The whole thing is so well themed. We've been on it many times before, but as we walked into the park, they did something that I've never seen before, you've never seen before, and that was they projected a light show onto the hotel the what is it's not really a hotel, obviously, it's a theme of a hotel, onto its facade. And Christine will post photographs of this and video of this so that you can actually see it, because I can't do it justice by trying to explain it to you. But it was just this Christmas theme with Christmas music playing and snow falling because they generated snow with snowmaking machines.
Out of the lampposts
It
and
was
the
with the music playing, Christmas music
oh, it was
playing,
gorgeous.
just really fabulous.
Well,
Do you
if
have
you
any?
remember, we'd actually been out and then gone back in because we couldn't get a lightning pass until that evening, and it was
Yeah,
like between 6:15 and 7:15. So we walked back there, and went back in there for the evening, and so it was dark and oh, it was just gorgeous. You're right. It was pretty spectacular.
it was. It was absolutely amazing. So the next dinner that we had out, we had on the boardwalk at the Trattoria Al Forno, a Italian restaurant. To my mind, this was the best dinner we had while we
Yeah,
were
it was
there.
incredible.
It was
Yeah,
everything was so professional. It was great food, great service, and and it was expensive. Yes, it was expensive, but nothing like the terrible value that we had the night before. It was really, really good. Thoroughly recommend that, the Trattoria Al Forno on the boardwalk. Now, the next day was Thursday. That was Thanksgiving. Now, what I would say that the error that we probably made when we booked this trip was actually attending going to Disney World over Thanksgiving, because we were
yes.
hit with immense crowds. Uh, it wasn't terrible because we had the lightning passes, but it was it's not an ideal time to go. And although we had all the Christmas theming, well, you'd get that anyway if you went around. Probably, I would think they start that the beginning of November, wouldn't you, Chris? I mean,
Uh, oh yeah, I'm not sure when it goes up actually.
Thanksgiving is the last Thursday of November. I would have thought they get those decorations up the latest, the 1st of November. I'd be very surprised
Right.
if they didn't. Now, we had a great time. That day we went to Animal Kingdom, had a really nice time. I love the way that they do Kingdom. You really think sometimes that you are in Africa, don't you? It's just
Yeah.
so well done. Uh, we went back to Epcot that day later because and you managed to, I don't know how you managed to wangle it, but you managed to wangle free lightning passes out of someone who was well, a Disney employee who was working on Spaceship Earth, which
Well, I
is
went to
the
talk to
big
her. I said I
globe.
can't get the app to work, and she
Oh, that's
fiddled
right.
around with it and stuff, and then she eventually she just I was you'd gone to the loo, I think, and she said, oh, she said, I've got you on now. Do you want to go now? She said, and you're not paying for them. And I went, wow, that was a great treat. Yes. So we went on that again because we loved it.
Now, the other great dinner that we had, because we are really running out of time now. The other great dinner that we had was indeed at our breakfast restaurant, the Rosa restaurant. We went there for a Mexican. We planned it
That was
with,
our last meal. That was our
yes,
last
our last
meal.
meal. We planned it with Chris, the chef, in advance, and it was just really beautiful. It wasn't quite up to the standard for me, anyway, of the Trattoria the night before, but it was
I loved it.
really, really, really nice.
Really loved it. I think we
And
had we had Mexican bean burritos, didn't we? And a mushroom type sauce in one or the nachos or something, and lots of them. They made freshly made guacamole at the
yeah,
table in
I've
front
never
of
had
us,
that
and
before. You're quite
oh, it
right.
was
I'd forgotten that.
fabulous.
Freshly made guacamole right
Yes,
at the table, made for you. Really, really good. Loved it. So really, that's all we've got time to cover. Sadly, we could talk for ages about the trip, but I hope that that's given some food for thought for anyone who's thinking of going there, particularly if you're vegan. You can certainly get food, but you just need to be a bit picky about where you get it. Otherwise, I suppose if you're going there as a vegan, you could do what we did when we were in Naples, further south. You could just go self-catering and go to the
yes,
supermarkets and get whatever great food, because they do. provide, they do sell great vegan food.
Yeah, and
Real.
obviously it's much
And
cheaper
it's
if you're a
much
family.
cheaper. I mean,
Yeah.
you're gonna save so much. We think that for our 4 days, we probably spent everything included. We do like our wine, by the way. I think we probably spent $5,000. I think we reckon that it was
I think it was
that.
more like £5,000, to be honest.
Oh, is it? Was it? Well, there you
Yeah.
go. I mean, it's not cheap.
No, but hang on a
But you
minute.
don't
I
have to.
would like to say I think that you're over. I think our wine consumption
Yeah.
was very low considering
Well,
because
compared to
we
normal.
had two compared to normal. We had pretty much two glasses of an evening, one glass of white and one glass of red, because the white was for a glass of white wine was $15, and a glass for a red minimum, the cheapest one was $18. So we were looking at $68 for four glasses of wine a night. So I think we were pretty moderate. We weren't having a bottle of wine of an evening, that's for sure.
Anyway, that is all we have time for right now. Thank you, dear listener, for being part of our final part of our life journey while we're in refinement. We greatly appreciate your support. If you have any questions about our trip, do contact us via the podcast's Facebook page, also called Refinement Not Retirement. Christine will be posting all kinds of images, photos, videos that go along with what we've been talking about, that will give you more of a feel of what we experience. But for now, it's goodbye from me.
And it's Merry Christmas and goodbye from me,
Yes,
everybody.
I
Bye
should have said
bye.
Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas, everyone. See you next
Bye
year.
bye.
Bye for
Bye.
now.